Hello, I'm Guelda Redman, and this is Elevating Women in Business podcast, where I share tips and strategies to help your business grow. And sometimes we speak to business women to learn from their lived experience. Welcome to Season 2. Hello, I'm Guelda Redman. I'm the host of Elevating Women in Business and the founder of the BC Women's Business Network. And our network is a community of women in business, and we work together to support and encourage each other and lift each other up. And we also learn from each other. And one of the biggest things that I see with women in business is that they're trying to do it all on their own. For some reason, we have a hard time asking for help. We think we should be able to do it all ourselves, but then we wonder why our businesses aren't growing. And the truth is that a community versus trying to do it all on your own makes a huge difference for you and how you work in your business and the confidence that you build. Doing it on your own, you're gonna make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But what happens when you're isolated is that when you make mistakes, you are trying to figure out how to fix it or what else you can try all by yourself, as opposed to being in a community where you have many brains to figure out. They will all help you, and maybe they have made that mistake before and they know how they got through it, or perhaps they just all have some ideas. Everybody's different, and we all have different experiences, and so taking advantage of the fact that there are many brains and many experiences within a community just means that you're going to be able to move forward faster. When something doesn't go the way you hoped, you have a harder time thinking of a new option. It's just the way it is when you're doing all the thinking for yourself. We're often our own worst critics. So in isolation, we often have a sense of, we feel a little more negativity towards how we're doing, how we're growing. Whereas in community, you have so much more support, but you also know and have met ordinary, everyday women just like you who are also building businesses and have gone through probably most of the same issues. There will be people that are ahead of you that you can learn from, and there'll be people that come along behind you that you can also share your knowledge with. And that's how a community works, where we're all growing together and supporting and encouraging each other. When you work from home, it tends to be very isolating and very lonely. And I think one of the things that we find with our community is, especially for the in-person meetings, is that women as women, we are all about relationships. We're all about connection. And so in order to find that connection, you have to get out of the house, and not everybody wants to talk about your business or has an idea of what you should do. But finding like-minded women in a community where that's what we do, we talk about the the problems that we face. We talk about the solutions that we've tried. We talk about what our knowledge base is. And and in community, you're going to learn things a lot faster than you do if you just try to muddle through on your own. And when you're alone, it's really easy to imagine everybody else has it figured out. This is what we see them on Instagram all the time. They're absolutely amazing. They've built these amazing businesses. And we think, are we the only ones that are struggling? And it's not true. We are not the only ones that are struggling. And oftentimes, that Instagram face that people put on or the mask that they put on is just showing the highlight reel. They're not showing all of the other pieces that they've had to go through. And another thing, when you're trying to do it all on your own and you don't have any accountability or support, it's really a lot easier to quit and give up. You don't have anyone else that you can get to hold you somewhat accountable. Not in a judgmental way, but in a way where they're actually going to ask you how you're doing. Have you met your goals? And if you haven't met your goals, that's okay. But then you evaluate why you haven't met them and how you can make changes so that you can meet them. That's what community does for you. Also, when you're trying to do it all on your own, you are spending a ton of time just learning instead of doing because you have to learn everything yourself. In community, we have women who have all kinds of different um, skill sets. And as you collaborate together or hire each other, you have that ability to pass on some of those pieces that are not revenue producing for you. Just to give you an idea of what I mean, if you just spitballing numbers out there, but let's say when you are in your doing your revenue producing activity and you are earning while doing this activity, perhaps you would make $60 an hour. But some of the other pieces that take you a lot longer and mean that while you're doing them, you cannot actually be earning money. Perhaps you hire that out to somebody else and maybe you're going to pay them $20, $25 an hour. Here's the thing. What takes you a weekend might take somebody else a couple of hours. So that time and that money invested in doing what you need to do to earn money, but also hiring out those pieces that just take you too much time and they're maybe not as well done as if they're done by a professional anyways. That's time well spent. So often we create busy work for ourselves. And some of that busy work can be when you're wasting time on duties that are not revenue producing that you could be handing off to someone else. And in a community, you're going to find those women who you can, they can work for you, you can work for them, you can trade services, you can also pay each other, whatever works for you. When you have a community where you're building relationships, you have women who will support and encourage you. When things don't work, they have ideas and they have knowledge that they're willing to share. All those duties that you're doing that you're not good at and they take you so long to do, there's going to be somebody else who's an expert. And you can support that person. So, what does it actually feel like to be surrounded by the right women in business? When you're hoping to grow, you want to surround yourself with women who are growing. You want to find those women who are encouraging you and stay away from the ones who are negative. Make sure that you're in the room with women who are encouraging you and where you're learning to grow. Find those women who will celebrate your success, not be jealous of it. Find the women who are willing to share their knowledge rather than being competitive and just letting you struggle. If you put yourself in the right room, you will have a group that is supportive and encouraging, that are sharing their knowledge. And as you are learning to grow and as your business starts to grow, you're also going to grow your self-confidence. One of the things with self-confidence is that it doesn't grow on its own. It grows by you doing. And when you're in community with other women, doing is a lot easier. You have people that are going to ask, how did it go? You talk about your thoughts and your dreams and your and the different things that you're going to be trying. And they're asking you, how did it go? Did it work? What happened? Well, maybe we could try this. And there's excitement that surrounds it. You're going to find faster growth because you're learning from other people's mistakes instead of making them all on your own. When we are able to learn from other people's expertise, when we're able to know what maybe our next step should be instead of sitting and wondering what we should do next. When we have people that have gone before us who are willing to take us under their wing and help us as we grow, you will grow faster. So, what are your options? If you're trying to find support, if you're trying to find a community, there are a lot of groups and communities around that you can try. And here would be my suggestion. Go to them, investigate, see what type of women or men, if you prefer co-ed groups, that's totally up to you. But see who's in the room. See how they're acting and how they're sharing. Is it all transactional? Is it just about transactions? Or is it about actually building relationships and working together? I would suggest too that join more than one group. You're going to meet different women in the different groups. And depending on whether you're looking for something more professional, I would say have more than one group. Join more than one. There's going to be different women in each of those groups, and possibly you're going to get different benefits from each of these groups. Benefits, one might be more led with teaching and education. Another may be more about relationships and collaborations and referrals. Probably no one group is the be all end all for all women. So choose a couple. But first of all, know who's in the room. So go and check it out. Find that one that you are feeling very comfortable with and find the one where you are learning what you need to learn. Find the one that when you're having a tough time, that community comes around you and lifts you up. A business community for women is very different than one for men. Women only means that relationships are being formed. Women are much more relational than men are, and you will find very often men at a co-ed meeting are very much more transactional. They're looking for a sale, they're looking to hand out their cards, they're looking for you to refer them. But when you meet together with women, like-minded women who are in business, very often, and part of what we always say with our group is that come prepared to give more than you take. Come prepared to help other women grow their businesses, and your business will grow. Building those relationships means that this community know, likes, and trusts you. And as women, we find it a little tougher to be referring or collaborating with someone that we don't really know that well. But when we get to a point when we're know, liking, and trusting each other, then we're happy to send our family and friends or someone that we, maybe a client, to you because we know you have integrity. We know what your customer service is like, and we know that you're going to care for that person. So go to meetings, give the meetings a few tries before deciding whether or not it's for you. Talk to the leader to ensure that the vision and mission of that group aligns with what you believe. Is that group there for just transactions, or is it there to help you grow? And there's nothing wrong with it being just for transactions. It just may not be what you are looking for right now. And I'll give you a few examples of what I've seen in our group and how people have changed because they were in the right room. We have women who come into their first meeting and they're very nervous at first. And immediately they're enveloped into a community where they feel safe, included, like they belong. They're seen, and their voices matter. And eventually they grow to maybe taking on a leadership role. Their their businesses have grown, they've learned and grown personally and professionally. Their life is changed. We have other women who've come in and they are on the verge of having to shut down their business and get a job because they're just not getting traction. And a year, 2 years later, they've started different avenues, different revenue streams. They've stuck to it and they've built something that now is a successful business. They didn't have to get that job. They're now in a place where they're able to meet the needs of their ideal client. And knowing who your ideal client is a major, major piece of the first clarifying your business plan, clarifying who it is that you're dealing with, who it is that you are serving, and what they need. We have other women that are just so that you can just tell the self-confidence that they have is just not there. They they believe in themselves, but they're very quiet and over time they start to learn things and realize just how capable they are. And their self-confidence grows to where they were barely speaking to now contributing a whole bunch. And we have women who have come in representing products. And unfortunately, we all know that sometimes when you're doing direct sales or something, your product, your company that you are working with can close down all of a sudden with no or little to no warning. So we have women who were branding themselves as part of, selling those products and now have learned that branding themselves is a game changer. Anybody can sell the products, but they can't be you. So by branding yourself as an expert in a field, because you know how to help people, then if that business goes under, it doesn't matter because you are always going to be you and you can change products. And the confidence and the just that sense of knowing that it cannot be taken away from you is super important. And the reason for these changes in these women is because they came to the group, they committed themselves to the group and attending and learning They showed up consistently. You can come to a group. If you come once, you're not going to get anything out of it. If you come twice, people might remember your name, but unless you come consistently and consistently commit to that group and the women who are part of that community, you're going to see very little change. And I'll tell you, some meetings you go to, they're going to be absolutely magical. You're going to come away thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I went. And there's usually a nugget that you're going to get out of the meeting. Something's going to be shared, and there'll be something that you discover that you can put into practice in your business. And other times, you find the whole mine. You find or hear about and learn about a piece that can change the trajectory of where you're going. But commitment, as I say, commitment and consistency, that's what's going to make the difference, because that's how we can be accountable to each other, not judgmentally, but supportively. We have a community of people who care about us and we care about them. So if community is so great, why do women still do business on their own? And I think what I found is that women tend to put their own needs last. Very often in a family, it's the woman's role is looking after the kids. And I've heard this where women have registered to come to a meeting and then they will message me and say, sorry, I can't make it. My kids are sick and my husband can't look after them on his own. Maybe they don't have the family support, um, where they're being told, go and do this for yourself. Perhaps their expectation from their family is that they need to be home and looking after them. I think for some women, they're not sure they belong because they're really not sure where their business is going. They don't have that clear foundational pathway and journey planned out. And for some of us, it's fear. We just don't know what to expect. And it's scary to walk into a room that you don't know everyone or anyone, and you're not sure what's expected. Lack of self-confidence, because confidence grows from being supported. You won't grow in confidence until you step out and find your community. Many of us have social anxiety, and for some of us, it's hard to get out the door. Maybe they're worried about coming to a meeting and there being a bunch of their competitors and they're just not going to feel like they can speak as well. They're not going to know as much. They're not as eloquent. So they just don't go. And that's one thing about our meetings is we steer clear of competition within our meetings. It's all about collaboration. So our meetings are business exclusive. There's only one woman per business type in the meeting. Maybe these women just don't know whether they belong in the room and they don't know what to expect or what's expected of them. And I think these are all pieces that people struggle with on their own, but it helps for us to also be able to see that and bring someone with us. Once they know everyone, they'll be fine because our meetings are have such amazing women that are so lovely and welcoming. So if you're feeling alone in your business right now, here's what I would recommend. You look for a group of like-minded women who are growing. Ask other business women if they have any recommendations of groups that they've been to and liked. Go with them. Go as a guest. Find local in-person meetings to go to and go to a few different ones. Find the one or two that you feel fit what you need the most. Prepare yourself for a meeting rather than going in unsure. Make sure you know what you need and what you offer. And once you've connected with some women, go for coffee, get to know them, and let them get to know you. No transactions, no pitches, just chatting, just learning about each other. Form deep connections with women who have the same ideal client or are in a similar field for referrals and collaborations. So make sure you write down, who are those people? Who are the people you need to have access to their network and you would give them access to yours? If you're trying to do this alone, just know you don't have to. There are spaces where women support each other, collaborate, and grow together, and it changes everything. And I invite you to one of our meetings to try it out on us by using promo code free meeting, all caps, one word, and come for free to your first meeting and check us out. And I'll also be including a download link within the notes below. And you're welcome to download my ebook, The Power of Networking. And then you know kind of how to prepare. I really hope this conversation helped you. And I cannot wait to meet you. Thank you so much for joining me. And we will see you again next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us. I invite you to subscribe and join us again next time on Elevating Women in Business.